I'm going to be ranking the best auctionable cards right now in NBA 2K23 My Team. What I do mean by auctionable is every single card on this tier list is going to be directly purchasable from the auction house. So there's going to be no free cards on this list and no lock-ins, just cards you guys can directly buy off the auction house and show you guys who are the best auctionable cards in the game. So we got tier lists here ranking from S going all the way down to D tier and about 35 of the top auctionable cards in the game. If you see anybody not on this list, because there will be a lot of cards that obviously I can't have on this list or the video would be way too long, so I got about 35 to 40 of the best auctionable cards. If you guys want to know where I'd rank another card that's not on this list, just let me know their name in the comment section down below and I'll tell you guys what tier I would put them in. But starting it off here with Scotty Barnes, I think he's a good start in B tier, a very well-rounded point guard. Like, he's going to be 6'8" with a 7'2" wingspan, really good defensive stats including a 94 block, 96 steal, 96 lateral quickness, 95 perimeter, 93 interior defense, and then he's got some pretty good Hall of Fame defensive badges. So we know Scotty Barnes is going to be elite on the defensive side of things. He's also got some amazing dribble sigs, including the Steve Francis size up, which is the best size up in the game, and then he's got the John Wall escape. So my only flaw and kind of issue with this card is going to be his jump shot, but it's really not that bad in game, and I think all around is one of the better auctionable point guards in the game, and I do think he's going to be in that B tier category. Anthony Davis, I know he's not that bad, but I just don't think you can put him much higher than C tier. I mean, there's so many good cards in the game on this list. You know, I know we're not counting all of the cards in the game, including the free cards and the lock-ins, but these are still pretty much all of the best cards in the game. So I feel like Anthony Davis has got to go in C tier, just has that baited release. AK-47, I kid you not, is in that S tier category. For me, I like to do top 5 cards in that S tier category, so I do think AK is going to be a top 5 auctionable card in the game. I mean, he really is that elite on the offensive and defensive end. Like, I think he's easily the best small forward in the game. He's 6'9" with a 7-foot wingspan, elite defensive stats. He's one of the better defenders in the game, and then offensively, they gave him some great dribble sigs. He's got a great jump shot, really good dunk packages. He's got the Trae Young leaner, which is really cool, and all around tendencies are also very solid as well. So AK, pretty much a perfect card, and I think easily a top 5 auctionable card in the game. Jonathan Bender, I think, probably goes in A tier. Another really good small 47 foot, moves at a very high level and does have a good jump shot, but I don't think he's in the S tier category, being a top 5 auctionable card, but really nice at that small 4 position. I would say Ben Simmons on the same tier as Scotty Barnes. I'm not the biggest fan of Ben. Like, I would personally take Scotty Barnes over Ben Simmons, you know, any day of the week, just because his jump shot's a lot better, has a higher 3 ball, better dribble sigs, and he's going to be just as good on the defensive end. But Ben is 6'11", one of the best defensive point guards in the game, has a 7-foot wingspan, and one of the best player models in the game for your point guard. It's just he's got a 65 3 ball, no shooting badges, and a pretty baited release, and not that great dribble sig. So we all know the flaws with Ben Simmons, but I still do think he brings a lot of value to the table because he's 6'11" and has one of the best player models in the game. But I think at this point in the year, he's got to go in that B tier category. I will say, if we do see a dark matter Ben Simmons in the next couple weeks, he will most likely be the best point guard in the game with a new jump shot and maybe even better dribble sigs. Next auctionable card here is going to be Dark Matter Ben Simmons, or sorry, Dark Matter Bill Russell. He is also going to be in the A tier category. I think him and AK are somewhat close at the small 4 position. Bill Russell has that defense, but so does AK, and AK is so much better on the offensive end compared to a card like Bill, and that's their biggest difference, because defensively, I do think Bill is still the best defender in the game, but it's not by a huge margin over a card like AK. But Bill Russell is still the second best small forward in the game in my opinion, and I think he's easily got to be in that A tier category. Devin Booker, in my eyes, also is another A tier point guard, or A tier card I should say, in the auctionable card tier list. He's still better than Scotty Barnes and Ben Simmons in my personal opinion. He's a really good offensive point guard, has a great jump shot, good dribble sigs, and they actually gave him some very solid defense, being 6'6" at point guard. Dark Matter LeBron, as much as like I love LeBron in real life, he's my favorite player and I love using his cards in my team, I just don't think you can have him in A tier anymore. I think Jonathan Bender, Bill Russell, and maybe like one more card are a little bit better than him if we're talking about auctionable small forwards in the game, but still a really fun card to use. I mean, he's still very capable of being a really good small forward in my team. Like, I'm not saying LeBron's bad, because he's still going to be in B tier, which is still one of the best cards at his position. That's how good all of these cards on the tier list are, but I do think LeBron going to have to be somewhere in B tier. Cade Cunningham, I don't think Cade is a top 5 auctionable card in the game anymore. he's probably top 10, I would say, so definitely going to be in that A tier category. I do think him and Jimmy Butler are the two best auctionable point guards in the game, with Booker at number 3. He's a great 6'8" point guard, 7'1" wingspan, has an amazing player model, good defensive stats, and he does have the front clutches, so really good at going to the basket. Vince Carter, I would say you have to put high C tier. I think he's kind of on that same tier as an Anthony Davis, a really nice shooting guard, but personally, I would take Clyde Drexler over Vince. Now, not a huge gap. I think Vince is still an amazing shooting guard and can still play on a lot of people's lineups. So don't think that I'm saying Vince is a bad card, because he is still really nice at that shooting guard spot, still has a great jump shot, amazing at going to the rim. We all know Vince Carter, still great at attacking that basket. So I still love Vince Carter. I just think him and, for example, a card like Dino, they're great cards at their position, especially for their price. I think Dino's still one of the best budget cards in my team. His ability to play the power forward and center position, 8-foot wingspan, 6'11", as his height, he's got great defensive stats. He can dribble the ball, he's got a pretty good jump shot, like all around is still an amazing card in my team. I just don't think you can put him any higher than C tier. I did throw Diop on this list just because the fact that there's no good budget centers in the game. Like, if we're talking about auctionable centers in my team, as crazy as it sounds, he's like a top 7-8 auctionable center in the game, which makes literally no sense, especially if you're not counting like D-Rob, which D-Rob is a center as well, even though I think he's a lot better at power forward. Speaking of D-Rob, I think he's going to be A tier for now. He might be an S tier later in the video, but I'm just going to put him in A tier for now because not 100% sure where I want to put the cards. But yeah, what I'm saying is like Diop is, if you're not counting like D-Rob, and you maybe don't count a Wilt Chamberlain as a center, you count them as power forwards. I mean, Diop's like a top 5 auctionable center in the game, which literally makes no sense. So for me, I think Diop has to be on this list, but he's just going to be in that D tier category. Talking about an S tier auctionable card, easily has to be Taco Fall. I would say he's probably in that top 3 range, and we'll talk about the other 2 cards here in a second. But as much as I don't like using Taco Fall and I hate playing against him, I mean, he's just one of the most broken and OP cards in my team right now, that I feel like you kind of have to have him on your lineup, especially if you don't have a Yao Ming, or you don't have like a Wilt Chamberlain, you don't have a Mark Eden, these really tall centers or power forwards. You kind of need to have Taco Fall in your lineup to combat if you do play another Taco, or you play Yao Ming, you play a Wilt, even type of, center / power forward, and Mark Eden. You're going to need that giant in Taco Fall to match up with them. Talking about Dark Matter Giannis, I think him and LeBron should always be on the same tier in my opinion. I think they're very similar in cards where they just play so above their stats and badges. They get some of the best animations in the game, whether it's on defense, getting block shots, contesting shots, playing really good defense in the paint, and then offensively, they get a lot of and1 calls. They're very unstoppable at going to the rim and finishing around the basket. So I think LeBron and Giannis still deserve to be somewhere in that B tier category. Grant Hill, I think, is probably high B tier, a very underrated shooting guard or small forward in my team. I will say, like, I do think he's better than Vince as an overall card. Vince might be the better shooting guard right now, but I do think Grant Hill overall is an auctionable card is slightly better, so I'd say Grant Hill going to be somewhere in B tier. Jonathan Isaac, I think, is on the same tier as a LeBron and a Giannis. If we're talking about at the small forward position, I think he's slightly worse than a Jonathan Bender or Bill Russell. Not a huge difference, but I do think he's kind of just that one step down. Talking about Dark Matter Jimmy Butler, easily going to be in that S tier category. I think him and Cade are the 2 best auctionable point guards in the game, like I did mention earlier, and I think all these 3 guys could be argued as the best auctionable point guard. Jimmy bringing that pure defense, that pure lockdown, where Cade's more of like a rim runner. He's tall, has a good player model, and then Devin Booker is that sniper, that offensive threat, that 3 hunter at your point guard position. So a lot different play styles and how you use these point guards in game, but I think all 3, maybe one of them, will be in that S tier category at the end of the video. Kobe Bryant, I would say same tier as Clyde Drexler, a pretty decent shooting guard. I would say he's very overpriced because his name is Kobe Bryant. He's not that good and worth the price he does go for, but he still is not a bad shooting guard. Like I said, I do think he's in B tier. Kristaps, for me personally, got to be in that S tier category. He might be the last card in S, not 100% sure. Like, I think he's probably going to be top 5. I do like him more than D-Rob. I do like him more than Cade. I think he's so nice at that center or power forward position, and one of the best big men in my team right now. LaMelo Ball, I think he's got to be on the same tier as Scotty. I think Jimmy, Cade, and Booker are just slightly better at point guard, and I think at the point guard position, him, Ben Simmons, Scotty Barnes are all kind of around that same tier. Yao Ming, I mean, we all know Yao Ming is going in the S tier category, not even a debate. Still probably the best auctionable card in the game. A 7'6" center, has a 78 3 ball, 80 speed, which is ridiculous, man. They gave Yao an 80 speed all the way back on January the 20th, and now we're getting cards like Simbular who have 30 speed. So they gave Yao Ming 50 more speed than a Simbular card who came out 3 months after him, or almost 3 months after him. They have 2.5. Like, that's crazy, man. That is absolutely crazy how much they glitched out this Yao Ming card, but he's obviously going to be in that S tier category. Greg Oden, I would say, is B tier. I think he's a very underrated auctionable card in the game. I think he is really good. He plays good defense. I think he's got a great player model in game, a great rebounder, can knock down shots if he's wide open. I would say he's going to be in B tier. Dark Matter hero Kevin Durant is hard to rank because, am I crazy to say B? I don't think he's better than a card like Jonathan, or is he better than Jonathan Isaac? I mean, I know the card's got like 40 Hall of Fame badges, but his jump shot is just... his jump shot's not great. He's got no good dribble sigs. I know he's 6'10" at the 3. He's going to have really good stats and badges, you know, 40 hoffs, perfect stats. But like, is he in B tier or is he in A? I'm not 100% sure. So let me know in the comment section down below. Where would you guys put the hero Kevin Durant? And that will be the same basically version as the Supersonic. I don't think there's much of a difference. I'm gonna go A tier for now. I'll see if I want to move him down to B tier. Scottie Pippen, easy B tier card. Actually, you know, I'm gonna go high C for Pippen. I do think he's kind of on that Vince Carter level, a really good small forward / shooting guard. I just think they're slightly worse than some of the cards in B tier. Ricky Davis, easy A tier. Still one of the best offensive shooting guards in the game. Has such a pure jump shot and plays really good defense, being 6'7". Derrick Rose, I mean, unfortunately, you're 6'3" at the point guard spot. I'm going to have to throw him in D tier. I do think he's maybe a better card than Diop, and I wanted to put Rose on this list because he's one of the newer Dark Matter auctionable cards in the game, but he's just got to go in D tier. I know he's so fun to use. I love this Derrick Rose card just for having fun and like hooping in a limit with him, you know, driving to the basket. He's still a really fun card to use, but if we're talking about the best cards in the game, he's just got to be in D tier. Rudy Fernandez, I would say, is probably... is he B or C? He might be high C tier. Is he better than a LaMelo Ball or Scottie Barnes? I don't think so. I think he's that one tier down. He's a really good point guard. He's got a great jump shot. He's basically just a 6'6" Steph Curry. I would say he's probably going to be in C tier. Sengun, for me personally, I think is high B tier. You know, I'll go low. I think him and Scottie Barnes are very, very close. I don't think Scottie Barnes is much worse than a card like Sengun, so I'll keep Sengun in probably B tier for now. Shaquille O'Neal, I think you got to throw in the same tier as Greg Oden. Very similar big man cards where, you know, Greg Oden can shoot the ball a lot better, but Shaq's a way better defender. Or not way better, but he's better on the defensive end and a little bit more athletic. But I would say Shaq and Greg Oden pretty much go in the same tier. Dark Matter, Tracy McGrady, we all know is going to go in that S tier category. Dark Matter Wilt, I mean, still a very good defender and probably one of your best chances and, you know, just odds of stopping a Yao Ming or stopping a Taco Fall. With that 8-foot wingspan, a great player model, and amazing defensive stats and badges, Wilt is going to be probably your best chance of stopping those giants in the game. James Worthy, I would say, is probably really high B tier or low A tier. I mean, I think he's probably better than a Kevin Durant, to be honest with you. And then Lonzo Ball gonna be in B tier. I think I have to move KD down. As much as I want this card to be higher on the list, I just don't think he can be better than a James Worthy. Is he much better than a Jonathan Isaac? Even a LeBron? I just don't know. So I think this is going to round off my auctionable card tier list. These are going to be my top 5 auctionable cards in the game in Yao Ming, Taco Fall, AK-47, Kristaps, and T-Mac. Let me know in the comment section down below. What do you guys think about my auctionable card tier list? And I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.